Hello, digital founders! Exclamation point. Looking forward to this year's mid-gen coverage, especially on the patches that will accompany the new PS5 Pro. So the entire team, what are your most anticipated patches to existing games? I look forward to seeing updates to Cyberpunk and Control, which were unable to run RT and 60 FPS at the same time, and a resolution boost to Returnal via PSSR. Oliver, have you considered this one?
My number one, I think, is Avatar. I think it could look outstanding with PSSR, like maybe achieving similar or better visual quality in its performance mode as the base PS5 in its quality mode. That would be really exciting. Yes. Because that game just looks extraordinary, and I think you get a more PC-like experience if you combine that title with PSSR on a PS5 Pro. I'd also just think about games that have unusually poor image quality on consoles, so like Jedi Survivor in its performance mode maybe, or I don't know, Skull and Bones looks pretty bad.
Not my all over game. That one.
Yes. I'll be covering Skull and Bones day 1, day 0.
And then the other kind of flip side of that is that games that use more RT on PC that don't use RT on consoles. So, a title like Alan Wake 2, for instance, either in its ray tracing or potentially even path tracing mode. But obviously, if those games are not scaling well on AMD architectures on the PC, like Alex mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think, I don't know why those would necessarily be scaling all that much better on the PS5 Pro. It all depends. I'm sure it could run on the console in some form, but would it actually be a good experience? Kind of up in the air at the moment. But that would be like the other area that I'm interested in is games that really could leverage more RT on the console.
Yeah, absolutely. This isn't really your bag, is it? I mean, you don't really care if PS5 Pro patches are coming along, do you, Alex?
I want to see the PSSR stuff the most because I'm very interested in the technology to see how the resolve is, how it scales from like 1080p to 4K. I'm actually curious to see how many games keep DRS while doing it and don't. I'm also... the RT stuff I'm also interested in too because we do have examples, at least from the PC side, of Sony titles having more RT on PC. Like you take Ratchet and Clank and also the Spider-Man games. Would they backport that? Is there's a lot of question of like effort versus reward here. For example, I asked behind the scenes of the chance of a certain game getting a PS5 Pro update. With a developer who had an early gen PS5 game, and they said for them in the product life cycle of the game right now, upgrading to the most recent SDK to take advantage of the things they would want to take advantage was too much for them.
Right.
Just like with all the stuff they have on their plate already, that they didn't want to engage in that opportunity cost, so they wouldn't do it. But that doesn't mean that it applies to every title. But, so I don't expect every game to get it, but I think the ones I'd really want to see are the ones mainly for PSSR and titles where I have a great ability to compare to PC. Like, I'm very curious to see what it looks like versus, like, what if 4K PSSR, 1080p to 4K, like DLSS or XeSS, looks better than, like, 4K FSR2 quality mode? We get to show then just, like, how important ML is for these things.
Yeah.
And I would like to do that on PC.
Well, I would expect to see a lot of patches coming, particularly for the first party Sony titles, because they don't have AAA juggernauts for the PS5 Pro launch period. And there are some good calls here. I mean, a resolution boost to Returnal. You don't even need the resolution boost. It's running at 1080p. PSSR could potentially produce a really good 4K image there, right?
Yeah.
With performance left over to stabilize frame rate, which would be great. I'd be really interested to see if they did update Control because, we didn't get any updates to the PC version to the point where it took one of the internal Remedy guys to produce their own mod for the game to add native HDR when it should have been a proper upgrade. From something
that would have been nice.
Different budgets, I think. I'd love to. But the thing is, you don't need to update the SDK to add PSSR, and that could be transformative in some scenarios. Mm-hmm. One that I'm thinking of, Metro Exodus, because the upscaling is really severe there in some scenarios, sub 1080p to 4K. So, you know,
Right.
PSSR injection there could be really, really good. And again, you would have presumably the kind of boost mode advantages as well. Extra GPU power. So, you know,
Yeah.
plumb that in with dynamic resolution plus PSSR. That'd be amazing. I can't really think of other specific titles. I would expect Cyberpunk maybe to get an upgrade because, you know,
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I don't know what you would actually get though, apart from improved upscaling. And the upscaling isn't really that bad because they aren't aggressively pushing FSR2 on the console
I think reflections
versions.
could be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would help the visual presentation quite a lot. And I see it as totally doable in that case.
I'd expect Insomniac to be all over that in terms of adding extra features. Possibly some of the work Nixis did with, you know, RT Shadows could be backported into the PlayStation versions. That would be really cool.